All right. Welcome, my dudes, to the second episode of The Grind. I'm joined by Jaren here again. If you want to say hi, Jaren.
Hello, guys.
Sweet. This is the two of us for the second episode here. Um, yeah, I think what we wanted to talk about first is how awesome the first episode was, how awesome it went. I think it went really great. I think that there were, a few technical difficulties, which I think we've solved in this episode. But we had a ton of support, ton of people listened to it. I think something like around 600 people have listened to it at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it, and just tons of positive feedback, a little bit of constructive criticism, which we've taken, to heart. And I mean, it's been awesome. And one of the best parts for me, I actually realized, is the Discord channel we made. We've got a couple dudes in there. We've been talking about stuff, and it's been nice to have like literal, like immediate face-to-face interaction with people. I think it's been, really wonderful. I know you were having some chats in there with people about teams and free rune removal and stuff. But yeah, man, people interacting with people has been the best part. I think, all the support, Discord, Reddit, all that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, for sure. That was, definitely the best part of doing something like this. And at the end of the day, like, we decided to do a podcast just for, something to do and hang out and have fun, learning to do and whatnot. But honestly, connecting with the community, just in the small bit that we've gotten to really talk with and whatnot has been really rewarding for me personally. So hopefully we can continue to grow off that and see some good things.
Yeah, I agree, man, for sure. Yeah. So some news for the next cast, I guess. We're going to be doing an interview with Sean B. He's I should probably hit ready on this, right? He's a content creator, and I'm a big fan of his. I like a lot of his content. I like a lot of his videos. I really liked his casting he did on I think the Pacific Cup. I might have the cup wrong, but he did some casting, and I liked it a lot. And I'm excited to kind of get him on here to talk to him about, there's a couple things I want to talk to him a little bit about himself, about his recent move back to Vietnam, and his life and how he's been doing in his content creation journey. And then also he mentioned that he wants to talk about RTA, right? He wants to talk about RTA for mid-game players. He wants to talk about kind of his experience with it, his take on it, and I think he brings a really interesting and nice perspective on that front as well. So it should be really good to interview him. I don't know, how do you feel about it, Jaren? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I've never done an interview before, so that'll be fun. Been in plenty myself on the other side, but I know, I think it'll be a lot of fun getting to have a chat with one of the bigger content creators for Summoner's War, for sure, and just kind of seeing his experience with the game and everything, and just how different it's been from mine. I know, like, I've watched some of his videos and I know I've heard him reference, like, he started very early in the game. So that, a lot's changed since then. I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think he started in, like, at the time they hadn't even, like, released Toa yet. So
wow.
Yeah, so I think it'll be cool to kind of get that perspective of someone who's been around, who's seen the changes and seen how things have evolved and whatnot, and be able to talk about the PvP in this game. That, I mean, RTA is fairly new, so we're still learning, like, the meta for RTA and whatnot, and it's actually kind of fitting. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later in this cast. So I'm excited. I think it'll be good.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, if anyone listening to this has questions for him, has things we want to ask him, anything that you want to hear him talk about, let us know, and we'll do our best to to bring it up and to ask him questions, and hopefully have a really nice and interesting interview for you guys. Yeah, definitely. So next, I guess, do you want to tell us a little bit, Jaren, about things that you've done in game since the last cast, like new things that have happened, good, bad, whatever.
Ooh, yeah. So this was actually probably more disappointing for me. A more disappointing week, anyway. FRR was this weekend, obviously, and I tried to get a Speed Dragons team, and I couldn't do it. And then you tried to get a Speed Dragons team for me, and still just struggled to make it work. It was one of those things. I think I probably overestimated the rune quality needed for it on one hand, and then on the other, I thought Stella would be viable. I realized I don't know how to use Stella, so you live, you learn. I'm running a safe team now. I did figure out that I probably need to run more dragons to run Speed Dragons, so that's what I'm gonna do. Just running a safe team takes me about 2 minutes, but
it's a little it's a little tough because I think something that you and I talked about and kind of came to a conclusion on was like your Galleon needed to be on Violent faster than your Stella, who was on your Swift Nuker set. Because otherwise Stella was moving first and not getting buffed and not hitting things and just not contributing at all the way that Stella needed to be. And I think that if you had twins, I'm fairly confident you'd be able to run it with your setup, but you don't have twins yet. Do you have a Boomerang Warrior? We'll talk about why that's relevant a little later, but
I do. Yeah, I have the wind boom.
Okay, which is not great for dragons.
Nope, not great.
One day soon you'll pull a lot of twins.
Let's hope.
And then you'll run dragons.
They've been out a while actually, and so I have 16 6-stars, which is, in my opinion, one decent indicator at least of kind of where I'm at with the game. Yeah. But I looked through all my nat 4s and found that I actually have, something like 6 fire nat 4s that I have yet to summon, and the 2 twins are on that list.
I have a water nat 4 I'd like to summon, and a wind nat 4 that I'd like to summon.
Well, I have a few water and wind nat 5s I'd like to summon. So
oh yeah, man. One day we'll both catch up. I'll trade you a Rocky for a Galleon if you want. If anyone out there is looking to trade, hit me up. Right. I'll give you a Rocky if you give me a Galleon.
Getting to use my Felleria a lot too. I think I talked about 6-starring her in the last podcast. Felleria, for those who are unfamiliar, is the light Dryad, who's a light nat 4, and she has the 3-turn cleanse that the water Dryad has when it's fully skilled, but she has a passive for her S3, so she does like some healing with a shield and everything, and it's really cool. She's working out phenomenally for raids, so anyone that thought about building her might have her and is considering it or whatever. Like, I don't even have mine fully skilled, and she feels great for R4, which is what I'm running now with Keith here. So definitely worth building. I suggest skilling her up as well, just to get the cooldown maxed at least on the S2, and I think it should be good.
Yeah,
she actually
definitely.
Just died.
I really like her, man. I really love her kit, and it's like even when she doesn't do super, like, everything she can do super well, because she can get Oblivioned in raids. There's other things that can happen. It's like, at the very least, she's a good cleanser. Like, she's a cleanser with an attack bar reduction on 3 turns, with even when she's on Oblivion, she's super strong.
She's super good. So that was nice. Now I'm gonna focus probably on Toa Hard. I was actually talking in our channel, the Grind channel, on Discord, about that a little bit, and kind of what my thoughts were, at least, on moving forward with that. And I still don't have anything like nailed down. I have no idea what I'm gonna do, I'll be honest, but hopefully I can figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, you will. So what else? Anything else that, like, interesting that's happened, or should we move on to some stuff that I've done?
There was something pretty interesting that happened too. So when Keith was trying to get my speed dragons team to work, I was watching. He was screen sharing, and he started rune crafting because I asked him to, and he crafted this beautiful rune. It was a violent slot 4 HP percent, 6-star with speed, crit rate, resistance, crit damage. It's actually on my Felleria, but I rolled a 19 speed on that rune and got a 16 resistance, and then the last roll went into crit rate. So feels really good, honestly. That's one of my better violent runes for sure. And I'm using it right now in raids. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. For anyone watching on YouTube, I've pulled up his Felleria and have showed the rune on screen, but it's beautiful. You grinded it to 21, man. Like unless you play for another 5 years or become a whale, like you're going to use that rune always.
Yeah.
So,
I was pumped for sure.
It's strong. It's really strong. I'm really jealous of it. Like, I don't have a single 6-star HP percent rune in any set that has more than like 12 speed on it. It's actually the worst thing ever. Yeah, but of course, I went crit damage with the event. So
yeah, it was awesome. I'll be honest. Seeing like first you see like the 6 stars, and it's like, okay, don't get your hopes up yet. And then you see like it turns orange, and you're like, legend, awesome. And then HP percent pops up, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. And then you see like the speed on there. Like that's all I needed to be happy with the rune, was like seeing speed on it and then like getting a roll. So
it was an awesome fucking craft. Like we were both screaming when it happened.
Yeah, we were.
It was messed up. Like we did not expect anything like that to happen. So it was a positive note after both of us spending hours and hours trying to get your Dragon's team to work.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's all I had. Yeah. How about you? I know you had some success stories, right?
Yeah, a few things. I made a Dragon's team with it's a pretty basic Dragon's team, but it's running well and I'm happy with it. It's what is it? It's Verd, Kali, Shayna, Sabrina, and Lynn. There we go. That took way too long to say. Pretty basic team. I don't have the third twin yet. Like I have the Fire Boomer, but I don't think I'm going to use her over Lynn because Lynn's nukes are really, really nice. It's probably like 90%, 95% right now. It can be a little better once I power up more runes and get my towers a little better and things. But it's really nice. It's running in 50 seconds is the fastest time that I've done so far. And it's really consistent. It never goes over like a minute and 20. So I'm really happy with that Dragon's team. Not to rub it in, Sharon.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm happy for you.
Because
you don't have Galleon, so like it's only like a fair trade-off, right? Like,
yeah, I mean the twins make up for not having Galleon and Dragons. It's actually really, really nice. It feels super. It feels like a real team. I mean, it is a literal real team. Like other people use that, not just people like me with no Galleon. So
right,
that's a win. I fused Jean, Jean. I'm gonna go with Jean. The Light Paladin. I fused her, and I think she's really strong. I haven't 6-starred her yet, but she's gonna be my next 6-star, I think. And I deviled her, and I put 3 Devil Mons in, and 2 of them went into her 3rd skill and maxed it, and the other one went into her 2nd skill, so it's 1 away from being maxed. So that felt really good. Like
that. Yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, that had to feel really good. Does her S1 like increase, because she heals with her S1, right?
Yeah, I think it's about 10%. I don't know if it has like an increased effect, but like she also can stun with her S1. I don't know, man. Okay. I should read her skills once. But yeah, she can stun as well. So I don't know if skilling up her S1 is worth it or not. If it is, of course I'll throw the doubles in, but at the very least, like, efficiently, deviling her skills felt really nice since I only had the 3. And now, even if her S1 is good, I can still use her in the state that she's in because of that provoke. So
yeah, no,
it's wonderful
for sure.
Yeah, she's super strong. What?
Do you have a Raccoony built so you can run the Jean Raccoony wombo combo?
No, I don't have Raccoony yet. I need to, but he's like lower on my list of things that I want to 6-star. A little bit lower. I also, yeah, man, I did a bunch of stuff. So I summoned Gene. I summoned a homunculus. I made a video about that. There's not any information in there other than literally like seeing me summon one. So if you've never seen someone summon a homunculus, check that video out. Otherwise, you can probably skip it, you know. But I did that. It was a waste of time. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I would not recommend.
The summon was a waste of time, right? Not like making the video, because I think you enjoyed that part, right?
No, I enjoyed making the video, but summoning the homunculus was a waste of time for sure. Eventually it won't be, but I didn't need to waste my time on it. That being said, it didn't really get in my way at all. I needed to farm those crystals anyway. I could have done it more efficiently. Who cares? Whatever.
Right. I'll be honest.
A 6-star Collie. Yeah. What would you be honest? Tell me.
Just on the video, yeah. So your reactions are actually really funny. And maybe it's because I know you, maybe not. I don't know. But just like watching your reaction when you summon the homunculus, and you're like, "Is this it? Is that all there is?"
I kept asking. I was like, "Did I do it? Did I summon a homunculus? Do I have a homunculus now?" Like it was. It just didn't. The summoning graphic was cool, but I was just like, did I do it? Like, did it happen? I don't know.
Yeah. That was really funny. I enjoyed it. I laughed. Like, that's part of like what those videos are for, right? Like just being entertaining, and I was entertained. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too bad. Not too much of a waste of time. I 6-starred Collie. She's in my Dragons team. She's good. That's all I'll say about it. Everyone knows. Collie's nice. She does good work. She has an attack buff, a speed buff, and an ignore defense nuke. And she's good in Guild Wars too. So, in Guild War offense for like one-shotting pandas and stuff.
I didn't realize that she was as good as she was. I'll be honest. I knew she had like the ignore defense skill, but having the attack buff and speed buff on the S2 makes her actually a lot stronger than I realized. Like I knew she was capable of nuking really hard, but that's also like semi-support type stuff, like speed buffing and attack buffing your team. So it makes her a good mix.
She's like a nuker who supports your team. So like, it's awesome. I mean, you just have to speed tune her a little bit, and she's lovely. And then the next one, also another really strong monster that is very free to play, accessible. Collie's a Nat 3, by the way, for any of you who don't know. So she's super easy to get and skill up. And the next one I did was Triana, who is also super easy to skill up. I understand some Nat 4s can take a really long time to summon, but assuming you have summoned her, she has fusible skill ups, and she's really strong. We're about to talk about that next. We're going to go over the statistical tier list, and Triana, spoiler alert, is in the top 10. So that's why I 6-starred her. She's a very strong monster. Mine's not fully skilled up yet, and I've used her in RTA, and she's still good. She'd be way better if it was fully skilled up, but I pair her with Ganny, and it you don't need skill ups if Ganny can just reset the skill.
That's really
pro
nice.
tip. A pro tip for all you Ganny users out there: don't even bother with skill ups. Just ventilate everything. And then Speed Dragons team, I already talked about that. And finally, Fire Rift. I got a double S in it. I put non-trash runes on my Fire Rift team, and it immediately just like autoed through and got me a double S. We finished the raid, by the way, Jaren, if you.
Yeah, we got a new member. I was checking his stuff out.
Ooh, look at you, man. Freaking gatekeeper of R4 right here.
I hate to do it, but like, man, I've wasted so much energy running R4, and like I'm low on crystals, and also pretty free to play.
Unruined is awful.
Yeah, being free to play and wasting energy always feels bad. And not that I'm entirely free to play, because I will buy packs every now and then, but like I don't really want to spend a ton of money on the game. So
exactly, wasting energy still hurts. You don't spend enough money where wasting energy doesn't hurt. I mean, honestly, even if you spent a bunch of money, I think wasting energy would always hurt. Like, you can spend money on the game and still want to be very efficient, so
yeah, but he looks solid. He passed. So anyway,
that's good. So let me pull up this tier list. If you want to start talking about it while I find it, that would be wonderful. So
where
it came from, etc.
It was posted on Reddit by a user, Pokemon. Is that Pokemango? That's what it was, or Pokemon Go, I bet is how that's said. Now that I didn't think about it, Pokemon Go, Pokemon. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
the capitalization indicates Pokemango. Let us know, man. Are we butchering your name? Is it something else? But
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, he
yeah. Yeah, it's like a roughly 6-month-old meta because Jean is not in the meta.
Right.
Like Jean is not in the sample size. That's the main change. She'd be up here, she's a really, really powerful monster in the meta. So that's the main thing to keep in mind. But I don't think the meta shifted that much since this chart. I mean, looking at these things that were broken 6 months ago,
still broken.
They're all they're all still broken.
For the record, I accidentally muted myself when I zoomed in on this RTA list. So you'll hear me break out, guys. I apologize. It was an accident. I won't let it happen again. But anyway.
Nice.
So just looking at it, the first thing that comes to mind and everyone likes to point out is obviously like top 10 are 8 of them are like LND Nat 5s, right?
Yep.
Or I think there's one Nat 4 in there. Maybe it's a Nat 5, I don't know. But yeah, and then you move down the list and you'll see like freaking the Light Archangel, whose name I can't remember, and
Artemil.
Yeah. So
Artamiel. Artamiel. I don't know. One of those.
Artemail, something like that. I don't. Yeah. So anyway, like it can be very discouraging to a lot of the casual players to the game where they're looking at that and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to have any of those. Why should I even try playing? Which isn't really a fair way to think, in my opinion. Like, the pick rate on those, if you look with the little green bar, is very low.
Tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that. I don't know. It's tiny, but Yanhong and Ragdoll is actually.
Just over 10% each, which.
It's a little horrifying, actually. How many people have those?
Yeah.
I don't
definitely. That is kind of interesting. It may not just be how many people have them, but maybe how well they fit into different comps.
And I think it also kind of implies, to devil's advocate, I think it kind of implies that if you own Ragdoll or Yanhong, you're going to be in Guardian in RTA. Like it carries you up there, or makes it more accessible.
That's valid too. Yeah, but on the flip side of that, like, they're all not very accessible, I guess is the best way to put it. But if you look further down the list, like, there are many very accessible mons. Rakuni's on the list. We've talked about Triana earlier. Now she's semi-accessible, and by that I mean like you can fuse her skill ups, so that makes her a little more viable as well. But
having and that's the thing. The top 10 are the big ones, right? The big LND Nat 5s, but. You close to the top 10, you've got plenty of things: Hathor, Vanessa, Triana, Perna, Unicorns, Gani, Wusa. Like there's, I know that most of those are Nat 5s still, but elemental Nat 5s, the chance of you having none of those, right? None of these monsters in this tier list is really low. I mean, I think Jaren, you have at least one of these Nat 5s in this tier list. And then the Nat 4s you also have.
I've got Chow. I've got Leica.
Yeah.
I've got.
I couldn't remember if you had anything else.
Yeah.
I actually forgot you had Chow too. So.
Fire Pony, Wind Monkey King is another one that I have. So.
Chilling, Cooney. There's Theomars, Tessa. Like those are free to play. I mean, Theomars and Tessa, anyone can get, no matter what. Like they're fusible. Craftable, whatever you want to call it. Garrow's in this list, so it's Harmonia's in the list too. I mean, there's plenty of teams and comps and accessible teams and comps that don't rely on you to have all these like L&D Nat 5s, but it is also telling that it is literally pay to win that these L&D Nat 5s are the strongest. That 8 out of the top 10 strongest ones are L&D, and it's just like I'd love to see more balancing toward this. I'd love to see things on an even, like a more even keel. But at the same time, I think we've seen tournaments, we've seen people in Guardian. We know that it's possible to compete up there without any of these LND Nat 5s. So I think that it's skewed. Absolutely. It's a little biased. It gives the kind of the wrong impression. If you look at pick rates, like Molong and Wusa and Ciara and Gani are off the chart. They're like brokenly picked often. And you know, it's so there's other things that need addressing, need looking at here. But I thought it was pretty interesting to look at this chart. It gave me a little bit better feel for things. And I've seen other data sets, and it hasn't felt so skewed toward these LND Nat 5s in those sets. So I wonder how biased this data set is. Like, I wonder if looking in, if you guys notice something in here that's making it feel really pay to win, or if this data set is just really well done and actually is, you know, revealing things about the game that were hard to tell in the other versions. I'm not sure.
Right. Well, I think in this data set, what you're looking at is like, it's organized by the win rate, right? So that's if they get through the round, right? So if they get banned, it doesn't count towards their win percentage. Am I correct in that?
I'm not. I mean, I think that win rate is just an indication of like whenever Ragdoll is picked out of the entire sample where Ragdoll is picked, 68.9% of those he won.
Oh, okay.
Whether he was banned, whether he made it in, whatever. It's just if they picked Ragdoll in the pick ban stage, they won 68.9%.
If that's the case, that feels very broken. You know.
Yeah, but also
if it's not though, if this was organized by like pick rates instead of win rates, I feel like the data would feel less skewed just because of how it's displayed, right?
I mean, I agree. Like Molong would be on top there, obviously, and followed by those other ones. But something that you also should consider is that if everyone was free to play, like if the whole game was free to play and everyone had the exact same advantages, like this chart would probably still look like this. And what I mean by that is A, these monsters are strong, but B, like the longer you play, the more you grind, the more you farm, the more you spend. All of those are factors, and I understand spending is the biggest factor here. But the more you do all of that, the more likely you are to have better runes, and also the chances of you like naturally getting an LND Nat 5 go up over time. Well, that's not how stats work. But you understand what I'm saying. If you played the game for 4 years, you're more likely to have an LND Nat 5 than someone who's played for 1 year, you know? And If you played for 4 years, you're more likely to have higher rune quality, have a better understanding of PvP. So the natural chances of people having LND Nat 5s on their account, you know, it does skew it in that direction too. You know, the concept of, sure, these guys have LND Nat 5s, but the reason they're winning is because of their insane rune quality, and they might have insane rune quality and LND Nat 5s from spending money on the game, or they have LND Nat 5s because they played forever and, you know, farmed really, really, really good runes. So,
and
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good counterpoint, but I feel that.
I would like to point out that you don't even have to play forever. I know someone that's played roughly a year now that has an LND Nat 5.
It's true. Yeah. I got it around 100 days playing. I looked it up after we talked about it, and I got asthma after 100 days of play. About a year ago, actually. Roughly a year ago.
I remember when you texted to me, actually. You were like, okay, so you won't believe what I just pulled. And I was like, oh man, what is it? And he was like, actually, I don't even know if I want to send it to you. You're going to hate me. And I was no, now I have to know. Like, what is it? So I immediately go check his account and see a shiny new Asima in his monster box. Man. Like, what the heck? Weren't you like driving at the time? Like you didn't even like see the lightning or anything? You just looked down.
Yeah. I was merging onto the freeway. We should talk about this on another cast. But I was merging onto the freeway, and I just summoned my like monthly check-in LND scroll, and I got an Asima. And I was like, I honestly like the rarity of LND lightning hadn't struck me, because like I think I'd had 6 LND lightnings in my first 100 days.
Yeah, something crazy.
It's really, really ridiculous, but a lot. So it didn't even feel super special when I saw the lightning, and then I like merged onto the freeway, and I like looked down at my phone, and I was like, holy crap, it's a Nat 5, like, you know, it's a usable Hell Lady, like, because I don't think I hadn't summoned Rocky at that point, but you already had. I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct.
So we were very aware that Rocky was awful. And so when I saw her as a Hell Lady, I was like, I don't know anything about this monster, but she looks awesome and she's not Rocky.
Yeah. And I remember too, you were like, I can't really find anything on her, but I'm going to build her because she looks cool. Okay.
Yeah. And she's honestly been a band-aid in like my non-Galleon Giants teams and stuff since I pulled her, and she does a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Which I think this segues us on. I think we've talked about that tier list enough. We got stuck on it even. Which segues us on. There's an Asima video coming soon. Sorry, I was looking at my notes, everyone. If you heard my brain melt, it's because it did. I'm making an Asima video. I have the majority of it done. I tried doing some recording, and like there was too much light. And I mean, as is, you can already see it if you ever look at YouTube. I like sometimes get all ethereal and ghosty with my green screen, but there was way too much light, so it looked awful. And I think I was like chewing gum when I was recording the video, so it sounded a little weird. So I'm gonna have to re-record some of that, but that should be coming out soon. And then also I'm gonna make a video on resistance versus accuracy. There was a really good Reddit post. I'll quote you when I make the video, dude. I'm really sorry. I like keep writing your name down and not having it in front of me when I record. But this dude on Reddit made a really good post that like kind of opened my eyes. He talks about like effective resistance. I'm sure some of you guys saw that post. And I figured it was what actually effectively, no pun intended. It was what effectively made me understand, you know, how resist and accuracy work and their values and where they're strong and where they're weak. So a video guide of that information would probably be really useful to people. So I'm gonna make that too.
Yeah, that'll be cool for sure. Moving on from that, I guess, the Diva, I hope that's how you say it. The Diva HOH was announced. I know we kind of touched on this a little earlier. Man, I'll be honest. So you sent me the link, right? You shared it with me. I freaked out for like a full night. And then I started I say that. I was looking at team comps and I was like, I've got Wind Boomerang. What can I do? And just to save you guys the time, the answer is nothing. In short. Well,
I mean,
the answer is basically nothing. So,
No, you can't think of, because I have a couple uses. I might have even told you what I think I can use her for.
Yeah, and I do too. I have a couple ideas, like team comps that would work and stuff. And obviously, like, I haven't tested them, and I don't know that anyone has. But with Wind Boomerang, I don't know that I will be able to make those two pair very well together in my progression. But one thing that does seem interesting, and actually Sean B touched on this. I think he released a video very recently about it. Maruna and Diva look like they would pair really well together with, you know, the double AoE stuns and whatnot.
Yeah, she's a budget Shayna in the sense that the reason Shayna is good is because Shayna has attack bar reduction and passive armor break, and she doesn't have either of those. But if you have Maruna, you can use her in like a Toa team still. The attack bar reduction is actually pretty crucial for that, but she can still be good in like CC comps and stun comps. The thing that I'm not excited about it, but I have the Wind Boomer or the Wind Chakram and the Fire Chakram now. But my very first Chakram was the Wind Chakram, and I built her to pair with my Water Boomerang for my very first pair of twins, and that immediately enabled Necro for me. Wind Chakram is one of the least rated ones. She's like kind of a DPS Chakram similar to the Water one, but doesn't synergize as well with anyone or any teams. But she's still good in Rift. She still does tons of damage. And I think that the Light one would do the same. She's not going to be quite as good. She's not going to have quite as much utility. But if you need her to enable Necro, and also if you build her, theoretically she could go in any Rift team because she's element neutral. So I think you could find use for her, especially if you like have a Maruna but don't have a Shayna. I think that she will be okay, but if you had access to every twin, I don't think you'd ever use her.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. just looking at like, the passive. So the big thing that really makes it difficult is that they have to be under an inability effect, right? So they have to be frozen or stunned or slept, I think are the full three.
Yeah, so don't count bosses.
Yeah, so for that's one big thing that like automatically makes her like not a great option for running Toa, or building for Toa. Is you're not going to ignore defense on the boss. But with that said, the fire boomerang also has decent attack multipliers when you consider that looking at hers, they're all single target, but like on the S3 for instance, 480% attack, like that's fairly high. And if she ignores defense with that, it's going to hit really hard. Like it's that easy, So it's worth considering. For Toa, I still think I might be able to make it work. I know attack bar reduction from Shayna is very important, but I think I'm going to try. I at least want to try. So I don't have the full team yet, but I think I'm going to use
It'll work to enable your Necro team, honestly. If you build her and you build your wind boomerang, you have you can have a Necro team. It's like 2 minutes or less, like a decent Necro team just with those 2 units. You just do like Lucian, Colleen, those 2, and something else. I can't remember what I put on mine for my first team.
And I'm definitely considering that too. It takes me too long to 6-star most of the time, and I think she needs to be 6-starred for that. So I will do it once I can get that done.
Because she'd be light, so she'd be tanking for you.
Yeah, but also just like with Toa, the water Grim has a 3-turn AoE freeze. It's 3-turn, I think, right? 5 with 2. Yeah, so I think he could pair really well with like the twin pair. Yeah. So
I mean, there's some stuff. It's like she's a budget everything. She's not like best in slot for anything. But she's a band-aid to enable twins teams, to enable some stuns and Toa and lockdown stuff. So I don't think it's awful. And also, I mean, the thing that most HOHs are is skill ups, and twins don't need skill ups, but I know there's plenty of players out there who want them anyway. So, when I mean, the HOH isn't just 1. That's the thing, is if, man, can I not do math? You get 5 if you do all 10 floors. Is that how it is?
Yeah, 5 if you do all 10, and if you use the almighty pieces, which you have to have those saved up, but you can get 10.
You can get 10 technically, but I'm not going to get 10. I hopefully will get 5. I might not even get 5. But the point is if I build 1, that's 4 skill ups for my Shayna, who I'm always going to want skill ups for. So I don't think there's any room to complain. Like, I think it is funny also, though, that Com2uS found a way to give us an HOH with one of like the most coveted monster families in the game, and illustrate that there are still crappy light and dark twins out there. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, they managed to find the worst twin, and everyone's now like, wow, this twin is awful and useless, but like no one really identified that before. It was just, oh, twins enable everything, twins are great, blah blah blah. But like, they clearly managed to give us what we want while also screwing us over at the same time.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? Like, giving us the Verd HOH, and then like releasing him as a fusion. Like,
well, it was like a Verd event. It wasn't an HOH, but yeah.
Oh yeah, correct. And then like the chilling, was it chilling that had one then?
They gave us a chilling HOH. Yeah.
And then Halloween. Releasing El Sharion right after. So it's like, I know they're not the same exact thing, but they function very similar, right?
Right. Like, I mean, at least it makes people consider, like, do I build Chilling? Do I build El Sharion? And they actually have, I think, totally different use cases, but they're both really strong. Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's it for this cast. I know we've gone a little over. That's something we wanted to throw your guys' way. Question-wise, we talked about it last time. I think you said, Jaron, that the average commute is about 28 minutes. I heard that the average podcast, not average podcast, but like podcasts that people like are around the 30-minute mark. We're trying to be about 30 minutes. I used to do a longer form podcast for EVE Online that was about an hour long, and I enjoyed that. I could talk for more time, but if you guys have an opinion, how long you like podcasts, let us know, and we'll maybe cater to you. I'm not sure. I don't mind this time frame. I think we get a lot done. I think we talk about a decent amount of stuff, and it's a pretty good length for interviews. I don't feel super rushed right now, but I do also feel like, we have been moving concisely from topic to topic. So, what do you think?
No, felt pretty good.
You like 30 minutes?
Yeah, I don't. We'll get better at. I think probably organizing our content too to fit in 30 minutes, but yeah, no, that length feels pretty good, and I think it'll work out really well having a 30-minute clip. But if you guys, if y'all like longer podcasts, if you like being able to put it down and come back to it later and still have more to listen to or whatever, like, just let us know, and we don't mind. We literally already sit and talk for hours about Summoner's War as it is. Yeah. So it would be no problem to hit record and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this podcast is like an excuse for you and I to like sit down and schedule time to talk, like we used to do over coffee, about life and Summoner's War and everything. So I can always talk. I talk too much as is, but
yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate everyone listening and all the support we had in the first cast. If there's anything you guys want us to cover, let us know. Remember, we're interviewing Sean B on the next cast, so any questions for him, hit us up about that. And Discord, man, that's my last shout out, really. Join our Discord, talk to us, say hello. I mean, don't be weird, cool, but yeah. Join the Discord. Like, everyone's awesome. Like, meeting people in the community is the best part of creating content for any video game. Definitely.
I agree.
I think it was a point in one of Sean B's videos, repping him so much because we've been watching his videos more and more. But he was basically saying, like, automatically, if you meet someone you play a video game with, you have a common interest. You both put time and effort and are passionate about the same thing, and it really, like, bridges the gap and gives you something to talk about. So it feels good meeting you guys. So reach out to us, hit us up, Reddit, YouTube, etc. We'll be on iTunes soon. I'm going to change the way our podcast is hosted, and we'll be up on iTunes soon too. So I think that's it for me.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week with Sean B.